Hello guys, this is your own boy MC Bernardino. Canada Immigration with MC Bernardino. Alright, let's hit the ground running. Have you been rejected study permit once, twice, thrice? You feel that is the end of the world? This video is for you. Are you planning to apply for your study permit? You don't know how to go about it. You want to avoid rejection? This video is for you. Yes, do you want to know which country has the highest rejection rate as far as study permit is concerned towards studying in Canada? This video is for you. This video is loaded. I'll be telling you what you need to do, how to avoid your study permit being rejected when you apply for study permit visa as far as studying in Canada is concerned. So you want to stay glued and on tight. I will be dissecting that for you.
Shall we begin? Let's begin now.
Alright, welcome back. Still your own boy MC Bernardino, Canada Immigration with MC Bernardino. On this channel, I try as much as possible to give out information as far as migrating is concerned. You want to migrate to Canada, you don't know how to go about it, I give out free information. So you have actually stumbled on the right channel. This channel, I actually give out information free of charge. I don't charge for it. So what are you waiting for? If you haven't subscribed, click on the subscription button right there. There's a notification bell beside it. Click on it so that anytime I drop a video, you'll be among the first to get it. And don't forget to share this video with your loved one, with your friends, with everybody around you. And if you enjoyed this video, hit the likes button, drop your comment. If you have any question, if you have anything you're not concerned about, I revert as soon as possible. Just a quick disclaimer before I go on. I'm not a lawyer, I'm not an immigration consultant. I just dish out information. I enjoy dishing out information because I know it is very paramount. Information needs to be gotten as at when due. I remember when I tried to apply for study permit, I was yearning for information, I couldn't get it. And I feel that now that I have information, I've been in Canada, I've studied in Canada, why don't I just dish out information for people that need it? And that's why I created this platform. So if you enjoyed my video once again, click on the likes button. Alright, let's get going. According to the information received from the IRCC data website, the Canada Immigration website, it was discovered that African countries have the highest rejection rate as far as study permit is concerned. If you look at the table right I present in front of you, you will discover that African countries like Nigeria, which rejection rate stood at 81%. You see Algeria rejection rate stood at 86%. When you look at Senegal's rejection rate stood at 71%. When you look at Federal Republic of Cameroon, it stood at 82%. These are whooping rates. When you look at Ghana stands at 62%. Kenya is 70%. And when you go to Asia, when you go to a country like Pakistan rejection rate for study permits in Canada stood at 81%. These are high rates. Nepal stood at 79%. And on the other side, when you look at countries like Korea Republic, their study permit to Canada rejection rate stood at 4%. That's very minute. People's Republic of China stood at 15%. That means that people from China, people from Korea, when they apply for their study permit, the percentage that they will be rejected is very, very minimal. As compared to the African counterpart. When you look at Taiwan rejection rate stood at 10%. These are really cause for concern. Japan is 4%, Mexico is 22% rejection rate, Colombia is 25% rather. This was information that was released by IRCC from January 1st to 31st of May 2019. This figure that I've shown you actually is very, very concerning. It's very alarming. This actually shows that African countries receive the highest rejection rate as far as studying in Canada is concerned. Also, Nepal, Pakistan, as I've given you in the chart that I just showed you, they also have rejection rate. But countries like China, Mexico, even US is 14%. They have high rate of acceptance when they apply for study permit. So this is the information I pull out for you from IRCC website. And also, I have another chart that I want to show you that shows what the refusal rate is for those that apply for university, those that apply for colleges and high school. So I'll be presenting that chart for you now. As you can see from the chart that I just presented to you, still pulled from IRCC website, you discover that those that are applied to colleges from 2014 till date 2019, which is with the green line, you discover that it came from 42%, and went down sometime in 2016. All through to 2019, it picked up again to like 40%. So that shows the refusal rate for those that applied for colleges. When you look at the blue line, which depicts the ESL, the ESL is just for those that have to learn English language, that wants to come into Canada. Firstly, they want to study English first before they actually go for what their primary course of study is. So they want to learn English first. So you discover that from 2014, when you look at the trend, it was 30% in 2014, it went all the way down, and it's now picking up again in 2019. So that is the trend for the study, those that are applied for the ESL, what their rejection rate was. And the yellow bar depicts, the yellow line rather depicts bachelors. So those that are applied for bachelors. So what is their refusal rate? You'll discover that refusal rate was 20% sometimes in 2014, and as the year progresses to 2019, the refusal rate for those that are coming into Canada to study for their bachelors has risen to 50%. And the last one, but not the least, is the university. Those that apply to all universities, whether for masters, for PhD or whatever, you discover that is the purple line. You discover that also was initially 20%. The rejection rate was 20% in 2014, and as the year progresses, it also keep increasing. So what this simply means is that rejection rate now for those that are coming into Canada to come and study is actually alarming, especially for the countries that I've shown you in the past. So have you applied for study permit, once twice you've been rejected, reason they've given it to you, but you don't know how to go about it, you feel so devastated about it, you're having a cause for concern. What do you want to go about it? I'll share this quickly with you. When I applied for study permits in Canada in 2014, yes, I remember I had like 3 or 4 other people that I applied with that actually, I know them, we applied together. But you want to know what? You know what? By the time the IRCC, by the time they got back to us, I was the only one that was given. It wasn't because I was the best. It wasn't because my application was the best. It was just luck. So we cannot rule out luck from this thing. For the fact that you try as much as possible to put everything you need to put in place, your documents, you do the documentation properly, the proof of fund, you do it properly, you try as much as possible to have ties in Nigeria and stuff like that, elements of luck cannot be ruled out. So in this video, like I've said earlier on, I will be telling you what are the things that you need to do in order to increase your chances. And even if you have been rejected study permit to come into Canada to study, what are the options that you have? What are the things you can actually do about that? So wait for it. I will be telling you that. This reason that was given to one of my viewers that he shared with me on why the study permit was refused. All right, the immigration officer said, I am not satisfied that you have the sufficient fund, including income or assets, to carry out your stated purpose in coming to Canada or to maintain yourself while in Canada and to effect your departure. So from this reason that was given by IRC, don't forget that when you're rejected, they will always tell you you have the opportunity to reapply. So you can actually reapply. But the best thing I always advise people is that it's not just enough for you to like appeal to reapply again. What you have to do on the second day, I've given you the opportunity to reapply. That's like a second trial for you. You need to actually address the reason why you were not given in the first, because they will state it categorically in the rejection letter why they are not giving you the study permit. So if you have to reapply, you need to address it. So like I just read this example for you of the main reason why it wasn't given was because of proof of fund. So the proof of fund he provided wasn't convincing enough. I mean, I try as much as possible to advise people that if you want to apply for your study permit, I mean, anything that is worth doing is worth doing well. So even if you don't have all the tuition fee to pay, I advise you, if you have all the tuition, it's something that you have been preparing for, it's something that you have been planning for. I mean, it's not something you just wake up one day and you just dabble into. You must actually have been preparing for it. So try as much as possible to make sure that you have all the full tuition in your bank account. I mean, so that you pay the tuition fee into the institution and you get the receipt, you have to attach that to your application document. If you don't have the full tuition fee, try as much as possible to pay. The minimum I advise you to pay is pay half of the tuition fee. I recollected when I applied for my study permit in 2013, I actually paid half of the tuition fee to Humber College. Humber College gave me the receipt for 7,000 Canadian dollars. By the time I applied for my study permit visa with immigration, Canada immigration, they got back to me. They told me to go and balance up. So it depicts more. If you can pay the full tuition fee, it is better for you. And if you can't pay the full tuition fee, it is better for you to pay a minimum of half of the tuition fee. And also, guys, it is not just enough for you to just pay the tuition fee alone. People ask me this question: how much do I need to show as a proof of fund? I cannot tell you generic how much you need to show as a proof of fund, because everybody has their own situation. Someone that paid the full tuition fee, how much he or she needs to show as proof of fund, it will be different from someone that paid half of the tuition fee. Will also be different from someone that didn't even pay any of the tuition fee at all. They only pay the acceptance fee. So that is why I'm telling you that I can't give you categorically how much you need to show. But take for instance, if you pay full tuition fee, how much do you need to show as a proof of fund? You've been able to convince the immigration officer that you have the tuition fee and you've been able to pay that. This is the receipt. So all you need to convince the immigration officer is the amount that you're spending on accommodation, you're feeding yourself. These are what you need to show enough money to prove. If you have like 10,000 Canadian dollars or 15,000 Canadian dollars, that will be enough for you to prove that you have enough money for your accommodation, for your feeding, for your living expenses while you are in Canada. So that is just an example. So the more money you pay, if you pay the tuition fee, that is going to lower the amount you need to show as a proof of fund. But if you can't pay the full tuition fee, if you pay half of it, you need to show more money. In addition to this, also, how much you need to show as a proof of fund. If I were this guy now, if I have to readdress this, if I have to reapply, appeal this case, what I have to do is, if I haven't paid the full tuition fee, I will try as much as possible to pay the remaining tuition, to pay the full tuition fee. And after paying that, I also want to show sufficient money in my bank account. In showing this sufficient money, another thing again that determines how much you need to have in your bank account is, what is your family size? Take for instance, if I'm applying as a single person, I'm just applying by myself, how much I need to show as a proof of fund would be minimal as compared to I am married, I have children, I'll be leaving my wife back home, I'll be leaving my kids back home, and I'm coming into Canada to study alone. Let's reason this. Leaving your family back home, you need to show enough money for them to feed themselves, because while you're gone, your family, they need to move on, your kids needs to go to school, your wife needs to feed your children and stuff like that. So these are the parameters, these are the things that you need to consider when you're applying for the study permit. But one thing that I discovered is that people, they just want to apply. Just because they want to live where their home country, they don't care, they just want to put the application in, especially because they have the application fee and they have the documents, few documents, they just want to apply. That is not enough, guys. If I'm going to reappeal, I will advise you, address the reason why, the reason that was pointed out for you, and try as much as possible to take your time to get it right, because it's more like you have been given a second chance and you need to get it right. Was your rejection because you were unable to prove sufficient ties to back home? That is another reason why people are being rejected. What can you do on your second trial when you have to appeal? What I will advise you to do is this. Probably when you tried the first time, you didn't convince the immigration officer enough that when you're done studying in Canada, you will be going back home. That's why he or she, the immigration officer, is not convinced that you have sufficient ties back home. What I always advise people is this. Before you reappeal this time around, it is better to do your homework very well. What can you do? Try as much. I've done videos in the past about what you can use to do ties to back home. Take for instance, if you're single, you're applying alone, what you can use to do ties to back home is, if you have a business, that can be your ties back home. That really is, what that is just stating is that when I'm done studying in Canada, I will be reverting back to my business. You need to show your business document that your business is thriving, the income, bank statement, title documents, your registration, certificate of incorporation of your business. These are what you need to show ties to back home, that your business is thriving, that you're just coming into Canada to come and study. Don't forget, in addition to this, you'll be writing a letter of intent too. So these are what you can use to prove ties to back home as a single person. Or as a single person too, another thing you can use to show proof of ties back home is if you have substantial work that you're doing back home. I could remember vividly when I applied for my own study permit in 2013, I was working with one of the telecoms giants, and I spoke to my manager then, and he gave me I wrote a letter to our HR in Lagos, and I got a letter that shows that I'm working at the telecom office. This is how much I'm making, and that letter on the letterhead of the company that was signed by the HR, the information on the letterhead of the telecoms company, I presented it, I added it to the document. That was a tiles too, because with that, I was able to convince the immigration officer that I have a very good job back home. I'm only coming into Canada to come and study, and when I'm done studying, I will be reverting back home. So that is something you can do. Now let's talk about someone that is married. You are married, you have wife, you have kids. That can also be a tiles back home. I could remember vividly one of my viewers applied for study permit, and he was rejected because when he applied, he put everybody in the application. I mean, what are you going to use to do tiles? Your kids, your wife could actually be your tiles back home. You can actually leave your wife back home, leave your kids back home. That shows tiles. That shows that you're coming into Canada to come and study, and when you're done studying, you'll be reverting back to your family. So what I always advise someone that is married with kids is that your kids, your wife, your family can also be your tiles back home. In addition to your job, to your business, this can be so. It can never be too much. It can only be too little. So what I advise is this: as far as addressing that task, if you want to readdress an application that was denied because of lack of sufficient tiles, try as much as possible to work on that task when you want to reappeal, just to make sure you convince the immigration officer that you will be reverting back home. So get a letter from your employer, get your business letter if you have one, include your family. Don't add them into the application for your study permit. Rather, leave them behind so that they will also serve as stars back home. If you have anything that you can use to show that you are striving, what you just need to show the immigration officer is that you have something that draws you back home. I mean, that is what they need to be convinced, to be sure that you address that issue of lack of ties to back home. Was your own rejection due to your course of study? I mean, people get it wrong sometimes. I mean, I've seen a situation whereby an applicant applied, it's probably his bachelor's back home and his work experience back home differs from what he applied to come and study in Canada. That is a red flag. If that was the reason for your own rejection, don't be perturbed about it. When you're trying to reapply for the study permit, probably you were denied the first time. When you're trying to reapply, you need to address this. I'll take hypothetically an example. Back home, you had a bachelor's in banking and finance, and you've been working, you have 3, 4, 5 years in the banking industry. And when you want to apply for your study permits in Canada, you decide to apply for visual arts or theater arts. I mean, that is contradictory. That is a red flag. An immigration officer, even if I'm an immigration officer, I can deny an application because of that. Because that shows that the applicant is just coming into Canada not to further his own education or to advance his career, but rather he just wants to leave his home country. So one thing I'm going to advise you, if your application was denied just because your course of study does not correlate with what you're coming into Canada to come and study, you can actually get it right the second time. All you need to do is that make sure that the course you want to come and study in Canada, your course of study should be in line with your previous educational experience, and also it could also be in line with your previous work experience. It is very germane. It is very important. I cannot overemphasize that. If you have to reapply, if you want to reapply for your study permit, if you want to appeal, reapply, yes, because they give you an opportunity to reapply, you need to address that gray area. And if you do that, you might stand a better chance. Hey guys, was your own rejection due to misrepresentation? Yes, misrepresentation as far as Canada immigration is concerned is a no-brainer. I mean, you can't afford to misrepresent yourself. You can be given 5 years ban, or you can be given an indefinite ban. You can also be banned from Canada. They share information with UK, with US, and it affects you everywhere you go. So misrepresentation is a very grievous offense, and I can't advise that to my worst enemy. So what I'm saying is that if your study permit application was refused because of misrepresentation, if you have to reappeal, if you have to reapply in this situation, I mean, I have little or no information to share with you. That's why I always advise that if you have to apply, make sure you're consistent with your information. I mean, make sure you try as much as possible to be truthful. Make sure you put all the correct information you need to put. So if your rejection was due to that, I mean, you have a second chance. Actually, you can actually try to get it right the second time by making sure you put the right document and you get it right. You know, there's no point fabricating. I mean, just present yourself the way you are. Don't forget, I told you earlier on that it's not just about the document you show alone. You have atom of luck in it too. You know what? I've seen a situation whereby somebody didn't even pay tuition fee at all and he got study permits. I mean, it happens in rare cases too. So don't feel that just because you want to prove yourself to be what you are not, in the process you get involved in some shady things, in some scams, and you misrepresent yourself, and as a result of that you didn't get the study permit. And not just that alone, if it affects you in other areas of your life too. So I don't advise that, but if you find yourself in such situation rather, try as much as possible to seek legal advice this time around. I mean, seek a lawyer's advice. They can actually help you out when it comes to misrepresentation. They know about it, so that will be your best option. Was your reason for rejection because of your medical illness, or they feel you are inadmissible because of a medical condition? Yes. To be sincere with you, Canada immigration can actually reject you study permit just because you are not medically fit. What I can advise you, if you have to reapply on the second try, is this: go to the hospital back home, go to the doctor, go to the clinic, try as much as possible to address that illness. Because Canada immigration, in the process of trying to give you immigration to study in Canada, they also need to consider the life of Canadians too, those that are living in Canada. Because if you come with such contagious disease, it can actually spread around Canada and it becomes epidemic. So because of that, you can be denied. But that is not the end of the world. Don't feel depressed about it. What I can actually tell you when you have to reapply is that go to the hospital, address that illness, address that contagious disease that you have, try as much as possible to heal yourself, and reapply on the second time. When you reapply on the second time, attach doctor's note that shows that you have a clean bill of health, you're in a good state of mind, the diseases are gone, and you can be given on the second trial. So if that is the reason why you were denied, try as much as possible to address that and attach documents, proof that shows that you are now of a good, clean bill of health, and reapply, and you might stand a chance of getting it on the second trial. But if you don't address that and you feel you can or if you feel that you are now of good health of mind and body, but it didn't attach the document that shows that, I'm sorry, you might be denied again on the second trial. Okay guys, in this video I've been able to tell you that even if you apply for study permit and you were denied the first or the second time, that is not the end of the world. You can still rise up again and reapply again. All I just have to tell you is that when you're reapplying this time around, you need to make sure you address the gray areas that was itemized, that was given as a reason why you were refused. You could be refused because of lack of sufficient proof of titles, or because of medical reasons, or because proof of fund is not enough, previous criminal record, misrepresentation. So many reasons you could be refused study permit. But what you have to do is on the second trial is that you need to get it right on the second trial. Even if it means that you have to seek the advice of a lawyer, of a consultant, legal consultant, feel free to do that. Because when you want to do it the second time, try as much as possible to get it right on the second trial. If you feel you have any question, there's anything you're not clear about based on what I've said so far today, feel free to drop it in the comment section. Guys, I will revert as soon as possible. If you enjoyed this video, it costs you nothing. Hit on the likes button, share this video with your friends, with your loved ones. I mean, if you have not subscribed to this channel, guys, what are you waiting for? Feel free to subscribe to this channel. There's a notification bell right beside it. Click on it. Anytime I drop a video, you will always receive a notification, guys. Alright, let's quickly go to the think about it segment, where I always drop it deep, guys. You think about it, it works for you. Alright guys, on the think about segment, I stumbled on this wonderful quote on second chance, and I feel I should share with you. Second chances are not given to make things right, but are given to prove that we could be better even after we fall. Guys, this is deep. I mean, you should ponder on it, you should think about it. Second chance are not given. It's just an avenue, it's just an opportunity to prove that you can get it right on the second trial. So this applies to those of you out there. You've applied for your study permit, you were refused, you've applied 1, 2, 3 times. That is not the end of the world. That does not mean you should give up. You know what? I know somebody here in Canada that actually applied for study permit 3 times and he didn't get it. But he applied on the 4th time and he got it this time around. So it could be you too. You can actually share your own story too. How many times have you applied for study permit and you didn't get it? Share it in the comment section below. Do you have any trouble? Do you feel you have any concern on your study permit that you want to apply for? Any limitation that you're looking at? Drop it in the comment section below. Guys, this is an interactive channel whereby we interact. You tell me your concern, we relate. People even give their own ideas too. So don't feel ashamed of it. Drop it in the comment section below. Let's rub mind on it. You might gain from other people's experience too. Guys, it's been a wrap. I brought this video to you. Guys, still your own boy, MC Bernardino, guys. Till I come back to you guys with another wonderful, scintillating, educative, and informative video on Canada immigration with MC Bernardino, guys. Stay out of crime. One love.